Coming to CuriosityStream, go on an adventure 66 million years in the making with Dino Week. From new discoveries about the dinosaurs we thought we knew, to the mind-blowing species still being unearthed, and the controversial discovery that could rewrite history. Did dinosaurs survive longer than imagined? Dino Week on CuriosityStream. And with monthly, annual, and bundled pricing plans, find the one that works for you at CuriosityStream.com.
This is episode 1 of the Keep the Dash Alive podcast. This episode explores why you will have to spend some time with your boots on the ground and not just rely on online databases to build your family tree. Welcome to the Keep the Dash Alive podcast. I'm your host, Julie Bonner, and today we explore why boots on the ground is still a valid strategy for family history research. It is important to note that along with the Keep the Dash Alive podcast, I have a Keep the Dash Alive YouTube channel. If your learning style requires visual aids, you may want to consider subscribing to that channel to supplement your learning. Today, in the world of family history research, a family researcher has the advantage of having online databases to build out a family history tree. For example, anyone building a family history on Ancestry.com will have access to vast electronic databases, including census records, marriage records, and birth data, among other sources of information. In fact, you can build a robust family tree on that site. There are many other places you can build a family tree online, and such great resources are available. However, the internet resources do not have all the electronic resources that you may need to build a robust and intriguing family tree. Thus, there is an argument that can be made that you will always want to supplement your electronic and online research with what I call boots on the ground research. You will want to visit areas where your family have lived. You will want to visit courthouses and libraries and visit cemeteries. Allow me to describe a couple of examples so that you have better context for what I'm talking about here. First, when I initially started researching my family tree, most of the direct lines of my tree had lived in Pickens County, Alabama, since the early 1800s. Some had lived there when the area was the wild frontier. Thus, the Pickens County Courthouse in Carrollton, Alabama, contained many records of my family ancestors. I would spend my weekends in that courthouse with a list of names, searching through countless records, trying to find any documents I could. One thing I found there was a divorce record from 1902. I was surprised to find it because of the time frame. Getting a divorce in 1902 was not common. This divorce was between a pair of my 3 times maternal grandparents, William Henderson McGee and Mary Jane Baugh. And the best part? Mary Jane's testimony was included, as well as her eldest daughter's testimony, and a family friend also testified on her behalf. It was quite a cool discovery. Now, I use Ancestry.com, but I have never found that divorce record included on the Ancestry databases. Thus, the only way we know about it is because I discovered it in the 1980s and made copies of it and transcribed it into an electronic record for my family. Plus, the last time I was at the Pickens County Courthouse in 2014, you could no longer get into the courthouse because it was in need of repair, and no one but county employees were allowed in the building. The second example was when I was helping someone to research information on her father. She had bits and pieces of information about him, including that he had used a stage name on her birth certificate. We used Ancestry.com to figure out his real name, but from that point we went to Kentucky and Tennessee to do some boots on the ground research. I told her that we might not find anything new, but we might. One thing we knew about her father is that he was born in West Virginia, but the family had lived a long time in Kentucky, so we were always curious about why he was born in a different state. What little we knew about her grandfather is that he had died in West Virginia at a young age. My friend had tried to find his burial site in West Virginia, but she determined he was likely buried in a cemetery where the people buried there had little money, thus no marker. On our trip to Kentucky, we decided that we would go to all of the cemeteries where family members were buried in the state, hoping that we might find some insight into her father and grandfather. As we were exploring a Kentucky gravesite of the grandparents of her father, we noticed a small plaque next to their headstones. That is when we discovered that her father's father had been a reverend, and that was most likely why her father was born in West Virginia. Now, realistically, you can probably find a lot of information online, but it will likely be the birth, death, marriage information. Plus, people like me post the little tidbits we find on sites like Ancestry.com, like that divorce record. So maybe you can find much of the information about an ancestor online, but it can certainly be fruitful to spend time on the ground tracing the footsteps of your ancestors. You never know when you may find information that provides a unique glimpse of insight into their lives. That's it for episode 1 of the Keep the Dash Alive podcast. I'm your host, Julie Bonner, and until the next episode is released, keep bringing your family history alive. Did you love this episode? Please subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes or wherever you are listening to this podcast. It is very much appreciated. Thanks for listening.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.